to Chat and Chai with moi, your host, Karishma Bazday. This is the space where we aim to empower and inspire women through other women's stories. So if that sounds like your vibe, then girl, you found your tribe. So grab your cup of chai, get comfy, and come along with us as we get inspired. My guest today needs no introduction, especially within the social media space. I have admired her and looked up to her for so long, and I'm so excited to chat to her and get to know her just a little bit more today. I'm, of course, talking about the wonderful, amazing Aisha Baker. Also want to talk about, I love, honestly, Aisha, it's been so amazing for me to see you be so raw and vulnerable about weight shifts and changes on social media. It's so powerful. It's really just because I struggle with the same.
Yeah.
It was very challenging for me in so many ways, especially being in the limelight and I mean, I loved how you've approached all of that, and I want to talk more about a lot of that. But did that affect your relationship in any way? You as a person, as a woman, or your marriage?
It's a really good question. I think changing in my body affected my confidence and affected how I felt about myself. And I didn't view myself as attractive, and that definitely affected my relationship.
You're making me so emotional. Oh my God.
Yeah, because it all comes down to you, if you're feeling confident about yourself and sexy and whatever, then you feel like everybody wants you. You're walking around.
And that doesn't matter what shape or whatever you are,
It comes down to that. And I think a lot of what we see on the internet about, people gaining or losing weight, it's always this, be confident with who you are. But no one talks about what do you do when you're not feeling confident.
And also it's hard when you've been something else.
Yeah.
I think it's not that it's easy, but maybe a little bit more accessible if you've been kind of a little bit all over the place your whole life or whatever. But for me, I'd only known one thing. I was known for that, being the hot, sexy siren.
Yeah.
That became so much a part of my identity.
That's such a good topic, because I was thinking about this even coming here. So when I came here, my natural instinct, if I'm going to an interview or I'm filming something, is to do my hair and makeup and wear a nice outfit, right? And for other circumstances, I couldn't do that today. And I was like, I'm actually going to show up and talk to Karishma as my natural self. I have a little bit of makeup on, but I'm in my gym clothes. This is what I wear every single day because I gym every day.
Right.
I don't look like this perfectly put together person every day. And I've started to realize that my value isn't in the way I look. And that's a very long journey, because I was conditioned as a child that your value is how pretty you are and how attractive you are to men. So that was just from all the people who raised me. I was raised in a village system, so uncles, aunts, grannies, there was a lot of people around. So I was always conditioned, you are the pretty cousin because you have nice straight hair and your skin is like a brown, nice shade of brown. It's not too dark and it's not too light, and you have nice long lashes. And my aunts and that's all they knew. So that's what.
And everyone praised you for that, right? And encouraged
constantly.
that. So
you're
that
so
became
pretty.
your identity.
You're so pretty. You're so perfect. Oh, a little doll, and and then I started internalizing that, and we're talking about conditioning, and now I maybe condition my son to be just like me. I think my aunts and the women in my life and the men in my life, uncles and aunts, my family, they conditioned me to be this pretty girl. And then it's Aisha won't have a problem finding a husband, because the husband's the most important thing.
Yeah, of course,
yeah,
exactly.
If you're not married, you must be dying. This is
something's wrong with you. What's going on?
There was when you come of age and you're 15 or whatever, then they'll say things Aisha won't have a problem finding a husband because she's so pretty. No one talked about my personality. No one talked about how smart I was or how dynamic I was. They didn't talk about, how I'm interesting or funny.
Yeah.
I was only spoken about my looks. And I wasn't, maybe I was considered the best looking in my broader family, but I feel like I'm just like other people.
Right.
So I didn't feel this thing of wow, you're the most attractive, stunning person walking the streets. But I did feel like that got me attention and it valued me. So when I went into the career of being a blogger and then influencer and all that stuff, again, I seek out validation from my looks and like how pretty I am and whatever, but I can think and I have a brain and I have thoughts and a voice.
There's so many other things that make up who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm so conscious about that with my daughter now. Like, she's gorgeous, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Salma is too, you know, but like, I stop myself because my parents are like, you're so beautiful, you're so, you know, and that's natural, and they're grandparents and they should. But I make a point of saying, baby, you're so smart, or
Yes,
you
you're
make
so
me
brave,
laugh,
you're so funny.
exactly, all of these things. So I'm like, I don't ever want
I do that
this,
too,
you know?
and I also have to sometimes catch myself and say, like, I need to remind myself to also tell her that I think she's beautiful, because I say all other things.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm very about like letting her look undone. Like in my culture and the way I was brought up, you were given so much attention if you had the perfect middle part with the two pigtails and the little cute dress with the matching shoes and socks, and you sat perfectly, and everyone said, oh wow, and it gave you attention, so you wanted the attention. You know, the outfit, the hair, you conditioned to
My
believe
mother's
that's
just
important.
mortified. Like, you know, how my child's hair is unruly and
Yeah.
undone all the time. You know, she's barefoot and dirty.
Yeah,
and,
my
you know,
kid doesn't wear shoes.
Exactly. But
She
like,
wears shoes when I take her to like places where she can't wear shoes.
but
like
like
the
my,
street, but like
my
everywhere
mother's
else.
like literally so affected
Yeah.
by this, and why don't you put baby powder on her?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you
the
know,
baby powder.
you know, like all of
I still have a thing about scent. Like I need to wear perfume because you know, a woman must smell good and look good and have hair and do all this stuff. But I've had to really talk to myself and get to know myself and accept the other things that are nice about myself, which is why I say I'm in my flop era, because I don't want to place emphasis on looking good all the time, because I want to love myself for more than what I look
Exactly.
like. And
It's
the
a hard
body
journey though.
It's
It's
an
a hard
incredibly hard
like,
journey. I go through this thing with myself all the time where I'm like, you know, I want like surgery, and then I love myself for who I am, and then I want surgery again, and then I like, it's a constant thing. And we're bombarded with images of a lot of perfect women on the internet and on TV, and we're constantly in that dance with ourselves. And I've had to really just write down, you know, what do I like about myself that's not my looks and not my hair and not my body, and stop talking badly to my body. You know, when I'm in the mirror, I'm like squeezing, you know, you squeeze the side fat and like, oh, I never used to have this.
I know, I'm like, oh, my body just looks different. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even about the weight. I'm like, will my shape ever, like,
And
you
the
know?
skin tone, your skin changes, and it's like not so smooth anymore. Or I used to do this thing where I'd go on my pictures and look at myself at 21 and be like, wow, I can't believe I had that body. I used to drive to the beach in a bikini, and I'm like, oh my God, who was that kind of confidence?
Me too.
But I've stopped that. I don't do that now. I try and like just remember having fun at the beach with friends and not obsess over the image, because I'm not going to be 21 again. I'm 33. I'm older. My skin tone's changing. My boobs are different sizes. Like, I need to accept myself. And it's not like I look in the mirror every day and I feel that, because I'll have these conversations where I'm like squeezing my body or lifting the saggy boob up, and I'm like, oh, maybe if I just pin it, like,
Or like, I want to look good in the outfits that I used to.
Yes,
Where
that's
and
a
not have
big
to
thing.
like, that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
And I've got all these beautiful clothes. I'm like, oh, can't rock
I've
that
actually
now.
started accepting that I'm a size 10 and not a size 6, and it's okay. Like I spoke to this one guy who used to train me, and he's like, you know, why don't you just buy bigger clothes?
You're
and
like,
I was like, oh, that is an option.
That
yeah.
isn't, you know?
Because if you're wearing the wrong size clothing,
you're always going to feel
you're
uncomfortable.
going to feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
But if you buy bigger pants, honestly, you feel, I feel so much better. I've accepted
Clothes that actually fit you for who you are
Yes.
today.
Because it's more about fit than it is about, you know, if you wear the right fitting jeans, I promise you'll feel amazing. Trying to
Exactly.
squeeze into this narrative of how I've got into my pre-baby jeans and my
gosh.
jeans, my wedding dress. It's a common thing, which I can't
And
stand.
it's been a big thing for me, like having so many friends who have just snapped back.
Yeah.
Or like, you
and
know,
then you're
whatever.
like, what's wrong with my genetics? Like, why am I not
Why
snapping back?
me?
Yeah.
You know, like,
But it
I've
also
done
comes down
everything
to
right.
like our cultural foods and the things we like. Like for me, I love rice and I love bread and I love
And I love food, and I
love food.
I've
It's
had
part
to
of my
just
DNA.
come to that realization as well, that like, I don't want to be constantly denying myself and starving myself.
Yes, it's
like,
horrible.
When I look at how badly I actually treated my body, and I thought I was being so healthy
Yeah.
because I was like on all these diets or doing all of these things, you know.
We are taking a quick break because I want to talk a bit about the sponsor of today's episode, Birkenstocks. Birkenstocks has been a brand that has truly impacted and changed my life. I had such bad pain in my feet after giving birth to Isla, and I tried everything and nothing was working. And eventually I figured out that I needed to get some shoes that were able to give me a bit more support with my feet. And someone suggested Birkenstocks, but in my mind, Birkenstocks didn't really fit in with my lifestyle and my aesthetic. I just always thought of Birkenstocks as these big chunky shoes that, wouldn't suit me at all. But I went onto their website and I was so surprised to find that they have so many options, so many styles, so many colors to really suit everyone. And honestly, from the moment I tried on my first pair of Birkenstocks, my life changed completely. Coming from a girl who is used to living in like 9-inch heels all the time and honestly didn't think I could live without that, to a girl who now constantly has a pair of Birkenstocks with her wherever she goes, because honestly, Birkenstocks just feels like coming home to a warm hug for your feet. Even if I've been in other flat shoes the entire day, I love nothing more than coming home and putting on my pair of Birks. And because I want all of you to experience the joy and comfort of Birkenstocks, I hooked you guys up with a discount code. So you can use CHAI15, CHAI15, to get 15% off your Birkenstocks. So now you have no excuse. Go out and grab yourself a beautiful pair of Birkenstocks. I was actually starving myself. It was really horrible.
You
To
were
my body.
starving yourself.
And now that I eat so differently and I enjoy food and I don't want to give that up.
Yeah.
I never want to go back to where I'm denying myself all the time.
But what no one seems to discuss with us is that the journey, that's a journey. It's a long road. It's a constant shift, and it's a pull, like a push and pull.
Completely.
You 1 minute you're there and you feel so great and you can have a great day where and then the next you don't feel good, because you have had, an indulgent meal and you're bloated, and it's because you're human.
Exactly.
I wish more people would talk about bloat and food intolerances,
I
because
know, right?
if someone told me you're just lactose intolerant, you're not what I would say in my mind, fat. It's my tummy is bloated because I'm eating things that don't agree with my gut.
Exactly.
But am I going to have the dal and rice? Yes, I'm going to have it because it's delicious and I love rice.
And that's my comfort.
Yes.
And,
and I'm not going to eat it every day, and I'm trying to be healthier, and I told you I struggle with healthy eating. I'm trying to be healthy, but I'm also trying to say it's okay to eat food. It's okay.
exactly.
Yeah, it's hard. And I try to imagine, I speak so beautifully to my friends, and when my friends are like, oh, I feel so gross, and I'm like, why would you think this about yourself? You're stunning, and I'm not lying. It's generally how I feel. I feel like you're beautiful, you're stunning, you look perfect to me, your body's perfect. And then I realized I don't say this to myself. I just said it to a friend in Pilates. She was like, oh, I can't wear a crop top because my tummy. And I was like, I don't understand. You literally look stunning to me. You look perfect. And I was just, as I walked away from the conversation, we started our session, I was like, I never say this to me. I need to look in the mirror and be like, you look stunning. You look perfect.
Because I'm like, you look stunning. I love your curves. I love how you look amazing to me.
But in my mind, I can't. So I even started doing this thing where I celebrate myself on Instagram. It's a small thing, but posting a story where my body's looking curvy, and I just say, a curvy queen, or
right.
I say these things, even if I don't post it, I say it to myself, look, Aisha, you look good, you sexy with the curves, because I wasn't told that curves are okay. I was conditioned that all my aunts dieted my entire life.
Exactly.
All they speak about in the family is how much do you weigh now? How much are you weighing post baby? And I think that's a South African cultural thing. People talk about it at Christmas time, where they there's these triggers where people are oh, don't have the trifle.
Exactly.
Because
But also how has this translated now into your work? I feel like you've had a positive response to being open and talking about it. But it's also hard because, you know, kind of our world very much bleeds into like the fashion world and industry, and it's like, you know,
but that's why I don't like the fashion industry anymore. I've started not enjoying it because it's very much centered around thinness, and unhealthy relationships with
and
food.
a certain aesthetic,
and the aesthetic and like the constant need to chase that. I pulled away from that when I was pregnant with my son, actually, which I was much smaller. I went to LA for an event and I felt so insignificant because I didn't fit in. I thought I was so chubby. I wasn't. I weighed like maybe 49 kgs.
Wow.
But in my mind, I was humongous because I'd always weighed 40 kgs, which is so unhealthy. And I was there and I felt so insignificant and so small around all these celebrities and famous influencers who were so skeletal. They were eating nothing and they look amazing, get millions of likes on their pictures.
Of course.
And I was like, I don't like how I feel here. And then I went to New York as well and I felt the same thing. So it's this dream, you know, I dreamed of being with those people. And then when I was there, I was like, this doesn't
actually
make me feel good. And I need to walk myself slowly, crawl away from this passion. I think I'll love clothes and fashion and dressing up again when I'm comfortable with who I am. And right now, I just want to be comfortable with my voice and like my thoughts and how I feel about things and how I move, which is why I love TikTok, because I go on TikTok and I just talk. And people are so responsive there and so kind, and they've been so far kind to me and not wanted me to be who I was, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas on Instagram, which was a big part of my career, I still get if I post the fashion girly pictures, people love it more, and people say stuff like, oh, we miss when you were like this, and I'm not that girl anymore. I'm now somebody. I've always been this person, but I'm someone who wants, I like talking, man. I'm a Gemini, I want to chat. Like that's who I am.
You have to help me with TikTok. I don't know how to find.
You'll be good at it. It's basically what we're doing now.
I don't know how to find myself in that space. I don't know if it's just a mental block or
what happened with me with TikTok, and obviously with anyone else who's on social media and struggling with that, whether it's like brand people, whatever. I started just making stuff on TikTok, and I randomly recorded this video in my bathroom, just talking about something I was feeling and struggling with. And people were like, whoa, I think you found a thing. Like, we love this. And I started just always talking on that same spot in the bathroom about random stuff like dental health and
like you have to do the dances and you have to do the
I do the dances.
I know you do. You're so good at it. I'm like, oh my god.
I do it because it's fun and I like practicing and I think it's funny. But in the beginning, I hated the dancing thing because I was like, I'm not a dancer. I'm really not a dancer. But now it's fun because I've gotten into the like vibes. But my main thing on TikTok is that, you know, you can access a new audience and just be yourself there. It's got there's some like newness to it that it's exciting.
Right.
So I'm loving it, and it's inspiring me a little bit to like change, like not be the perfect fashion girly with the perfect hair and makeup, you know?
And I think TikTok, I've heard from so many other like people in the content creation space, is about that because it comes down to personality.
Yeah.
And not aesthetic. And, you know, it's so much more forgiving and it's such a kinder
because I mean, remember in the past when we would make cooking videos and then you'd like plan how the set looks for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can just cook something and everyone cares about the actual recipe.
You see,
I
want that freedom.
I wanted a marble kitchen island for years. I literally saved money for this.
I remember you talking about that actually.
I've saved and I'm getting it now, finally, 5 years of saving. I wanted it because of Instagram. Like I wanted to make a nice
aesthetic.
Yes, that's so silly to me now.
So
I'm like, do you even like cooking? Like I'm asking myself these questions. Like, do you like making food, or do you just like the look of you in an apron behind a marble counter?
And it's going to be like 2 photos, and you're like, I'm done with it now. Like
spend all this money on just a one picture.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's very silly. So I like TikTok because I think it's run by this new generation of people, or the Gen Zs that just like. They care about your personality and what you have to say, not how you look while you're saying it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about career and business. I mean, you've created such a beautiful career for yourself in the content creation space. But I've also, I think, seen you now evolve and dabble into other things. So I want to know why the shifts.
Yeah.
And how have you as Aisha evolved within the space of like social media and content creation? what does it look like for you now? What are you
Yeah.
focusing on now?
So I think when I started my career, I was much younger and I was so full of energy and like I thought the sky was the limit. And then I flew close to the clouds and I reached those things and realized that they weren't for me. And it made me feel a bit lost. And I blamed it a lot on motherhood. And I was like, oh, motherhood's making me feel lost. And then I got through that and I had another baby and then I felt again lost, like I don't know what, like there's something for me out there and I can't find it. So then I decided, I think last year in June, so my birthday's in June and for me it's like New Year.
Okay.
So I always celebrate my birthday as a new year. So it's like New Year's Eve for me.
Same.
And then on my birthday, the new year begins and I'm like rejuvenated. And it's a funny thing that I do, and my other friends who are also Geminis do the same thing. Like I have this thing. It's like Happy New Year, I really feel that. So last year, after my birthday, I decided I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not working my fingers to the bone. I was working so hard, constantly pushing out content, doing brand deals. I had a clothing line, and then I opened a coffee shop with my dad, and this whole thing, like, it just snowballed and I was just finding myself burnt out. And I didn't really know what I liked about any of those jobs,
Okay.
And I had my podcast too, and there was just so much going on. So in June last year, I decided that I was going to close everything by December and just, like, stop. Like, all I wanted to do was stop everything and get to know what I like. So I did that in December. I stopped everything, like every single job that I was doing besides the coffee shop, which, because it's a partnership, there's less pressure. So I'm still doing that. And then it's led me to a lot of exploration, and I'm in an exploration phase now. I'm dabbling with what do I really like, and what I've realized is I love conversation and I love talking, and I need to turn that into something that can generate an income for me.
Right.
Instead of chasing money so hard, because it was a long time and I was literally chasing money, and like I had like all these targets, financial targets that I needed to reach, and I was working. And then I just realized I'm unhappy, I don't
Right.
feel good. And I want to do something, like I have a life with purpose and with like passion. I don't want to just work hard for the check at the end.
Exactly.
So now with my career, I don't know what my next step is, but I'm excited because I can feel it brewing, and there's a slow build up of passion inside of me. So if you follow me on TikTok or you watch my TikToks, you'll see that side coming out. I want to change people's lives through conversation, and I've been offered to write a book, which I've kind of started it, but I don't know if I'm going to do it.
What?
I've started writing it, but it might be like 10 years from now.
But it is
Takes
also
long.
a journey,
Yeah.
and I
I'm
think
not a
that's
writer
amazing.
like by profession. So I've started this, and I think part of this process is also, diving into writing. Will I ever release the book? I don't know. I might. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. It's like.
But what
it's
a beautiful
fun.
journey it would
Yeah,
have
it's
been,
fun to just
anyway.
have an open tab and like a free space, and I'm blessed enough to get to do that. I'm going a bit stir crazy, so doing more influencer stuff again and realizing that I actually love that stuff, because I do feel like I'm influential, and a lot of the influencer space, because of all the bullying that happens in the influencer space, from people, strangers on the internet, the trolling and stuff, that really affected my self-esteem for years, and like the constant mean comments. So I really had to work on myself so that doesn't penetrate me.
Right.
And now I'm enjoying it more, because if someone says something mean now, it hurts me for less time because I'm comfortable with myself.
Right.
So it is like when I was 22, when people said mean things, I didn't care because I was so confident. I was like, oh, if you don't like me, like whatever.
I'm hot and I'm amazing.
I'm heading for the stars. Like I'm going for
Right.
life.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's a period where I was not confident, and
Right.
anything that anyone criticized me about, it would penetrate me, and I would just be so down and dark. So now I want to walk my way back to a new version of myself in my career. I still want to work. I love working. It makes me feel so good. Like I love achieving goals and like ticking off boxes. I really do love it. So I want to work again. I just need to work in a space where I feel like I'm making a difference.
And that fills your cup,
Yeah.
I think like we're so alike, Aisha. This is, I wanna tell a quick story before I share
Sure.
something. Like, so when I was starting out, obviously, and I was like trying to build my brand online and stuff. Obviously, you were like one of the biggest
Oh
people
gosh, when
I
was
looked
that?
to
Long ago.
long ago, you know. And I just thought you were and you were a person of color.
Yeah.
And there wasn't 10 years ago.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't, you know,
a lot of us.
any of that. And I was also, I think, working hard to break my mindset around another person of color, especially another female, as competition.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with that. You know,
Because there wasn't enough space for us.
there wasn't enough space for us. You had to fight for that, and you had to be the one that stood out, and all of these things. But you know, I loved you and I love what you're doing. But I was like, how does she do this? I want so many followers, and you know, all of these things. And then I got a chance to interview you
Oh, I remember.
for Mela.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. I
Really?
couldn't even say your name properly. I kept on like messing up your name.
No ways. Were you nervous?
And
You didn't
Buddy
seem
was
nervous.
like, what is wrong with you? Like, you've never seen me like this, you know. And I was like, she's so cool, and I want to be friends with her.
Oh, that's so
and like, I
nice.
also like, I saw you at events, and I thought, no, she's too cool. Like, she would not even want to talk to me. And you're so
I'm
lovely.
actually not cool at all. I'm like a biggest. My friends always say like, we wish people knew what a like dork you are. I'm like, I am a dork. No, I'm like
But
a guy.
you're so lovely, and you're so easy. But it's like, also you like, I think, you know, I was like the newbie to this world, and like at events, you were hanging out with the people that I hang out with now, but like the
cool
like the big influencers, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't fit in there yet, you know. It was this whole big thing. But I love that we're actually so alike, and that we like have so much in common. And I think, you know, we're really at such similar spaces where I really love the social media kind of platform. And for me as an actor, I love it because I get complete control. I'm the director, the producer, you know, the content creator, like everything. Whereas when I'm on set, you know, I'm just kind of
That's
the
why I
actor.
hated modeling, because I hated being the person that just stands there.
Exactly.
I
And, you
wanted
know,
to like set up everything.
yeah, I get to create, you know, my voice and, you know, what I want to put onto the world. And I love that, and I love having that impact. But after becoming a mom, I knew it also had to be something more. And that's why I created this space.
Yes.
Because
And conversation is, I think, the best thing.
the best, Aisha,
You
because
learn so much through conversation.
through conversation and through other people being brave enough to share their stories and make you feel like you're okay to live your story.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been so powerful just in my life within like my tribe and the women that I've been speaking to.
Yeah.
And it's only because of those women that I was able to kind of thrive through motherhood and do all the amazing things that I've done. So yeah, I then now want to talk about. We are both very woo-woo, as we
Wait,
like.
what's your star sign?
I'm an Aries,
Really? Okay.
but I love Gem. My husband's a Gemini.
What's your
and
moon sign? Do you know?
I actually don't know.
My moon is Aquarius.
No, because you know, I don't know my time of birth. My parents can't remember my exact time of birth. Listen,
I don't even know if my time is real. My mom just probably said 4 p.m.
well, exactly. They're like around 11 a.m. So I'm like, you know,
Were
some
you
of
the first or second born?
firstborn.
And they don't remember the
I
time.
know, right?
That's interesting.
I think it was so long ago, 36 years ago. So like, you know,
Yeah.
but I need to like go to someone that can use a pendulum.
Oh, can you do that?
Because you can like kind of narrow it down.
I love star signs.
Oh, me
I think
too.
it may be against my religion, but I love it. I think that they make so much sense to me.
Completely.
Like, how much sense does it make that humans were filed into a little system?
And have you dabbled in my human design?
Yes, love it.
I'm like obsessed. I'm
It's
like,
really
oh my
cool,
god, it's
yeah.
so cool. But we both very into woo-woo stuff. So I want to know, tell me, what have been some of your favorite healers or modalities that you've discovered?
I've tried a lot of stuff. I've done in recent years cacao.
Yes.
The non-psychedelic one.
Yes.
And I think I've actually made my own cacao. It tasted horrible, so I never made it again.
Oh my gosh.
I need to get a proper recipe. But I feel like cacao really opened me up to the self-love environment.
Yeah.
With that, bringing that energy in. I've done crystal clearings, which I also love. I'm now in the space where I believe that I am my own healer.
Right.
After seeing a lot of different people, I'll see anyone, like literally.
You like me, it's like someone tells me, I'll hear someone
There's
saying,
this guy in heart pain, I'll go
this
there.
tarot reader. I'm like, hello, what? Tell me.
Excuse me,
Excuse
I
me.
think I heard you speak about a tarot card reading.
Like I'm so obsessed with my own self-development and
Yes,
self-growth
me too.
and self-discovery. And
But
I
you know,
feel
we
like
must be
everyone should-
careful because we're sometimes so obsessed with developing ourselves, we don't like live in the moment.
Completely. I
catch
had
myself
that
on
moment this year. I was like, okay, Karishma,
Just
let's
enjoy life a little bit.
bring
Stop
yourself
growing.
back towards yourself because you were like out there, like,
Yeah,
you know,
I
and
get
it's
to be-
great. And there's moments for it, but like, I love building, like, I don't know, it's almost like my little toolkit,
Yeah.
you know, of things like
So
when
that's
I'm
what I
feeling
find
lost.
with healers, like there's a lot of taboo, especially culturally, around that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so initially when I started going to different kinds of healers, I felt like a guilt. But then I realized I'm learning so much from them, and I'm learning to tap into my own energy fields and like learning how my energy works, you know. And now, because I've done it for so many years and I've gone to all these different people, I did an amazing thing called conscious counseling with a healer. That's it's not like super voodoo vibes. Like there's no, you know,
Right.
things flying and smoke around you. But it was just a conscious process. And the way she did it is she used tarot cards and like led the journey through that. And she does like some meditation and things come to her, and she's almost like a clairvoyant. So she'll pick up little things and then you can unpack them, and
So
then
like an intuitive coach.
yeah,
Yes,
so
I've been doing the same.
she picks up things that happened in your life, maybe traumas or whatever, and then you unpack them with her, and then she helps you to wrap them up and close them off. So it really helped me to move on from a lot of traumatic events and things that happened in my childhood. And through that, she also taught me how to deal with my chakras and how to align them
Right.
myself, and how to cord cut myself, you know, relationships that I
Yes.
wanted to let go of. And cleanse my space, and I'm a huge believer in cleansing the space. Like I love impepo, which is
Yes.
of course a herb, and then you know you can also use sage, and I think it just even if like the skeptics say it's just you're just burning plants in your house, even if that's true, it's still a nice ritual that gets you into thinking about consciously clearing the energy
And what energy you want to bring in.
yeah, and sage is actually, I think, like an antibacterial plant.
it is.
So it's like there's no harm, no foul, and so I love that, and I love a good like salt bath, and I love crystals. I love looking at them; they're so pretty, and I love beautiful things. So I love crystals. I love having a crystal bath. I don't care if they're just stones in the bath and they do nothing. It does something for me. It feels good for me, and I don't think it's like this big blasphemous experience.
No.
It's just a crystal bath. It's just so light, you know.
And I think the more you know yourself, the better you can navigate yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you can navigate this world and any situation. And so why not? If you have that opportunity, you know, for that self-growth and that self-discovery. And I mean, maybe don't go all in like us and go to like,
No,
you know.
I love going
every
all in.
bit,
I'll
but
go
like,
deep.
you
I
know,
would love to do like ayahuasca and like all these
I
things.
want to do mushrooms. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I've recently learned about microdosing mushrooms
Yeah.
and how they can help, and there's apparently all this research going on about how it can help with mental health and stuff.
Definitely.
So it's definitely something that I'm open to trying, and I also feel like when things are natural and from the earth, they feel more positive for me. So I
Completely.
feel like, you know, with like a crystal, it's a stone that's made on earth. Like why would it not be left there for us to get some sort of benefit from, you know?
Because we're all energy, it's all vibration, right?
Yes, that's how I feel, and I don't feel like, and it's taken me many years to say this, but because I do believe in religion. I am Muslim, but I also don't feel that using certain tools from the earth is against my religion. Like,
Right.
I still believe in God, and I still pray, and I still do all those things, but I believe that God left the little nuggets for us to help us through this very difficult, because earth is school, it's a hard place to live. Like there's a lot of challenges. We need help, and we need each other firstly, and also we need the stuff that nature provides, like, you know, these crystals or the impepo or whatever it is that you use. It's so important to me. It's part of my life, and if I don't do these rituals for whatever reason, you get busy and you just push it away, or I do feel like I unravel, and I'm not feeling secure or safe. You know, I need to cleanse my space once a month and
Realign.
Yes, realign
Completely.
And I can feel when something's pulling me. And again, I spoke about birth work, and when my sister was giving birth, I was lucky enough to assist the doula in her laboring process, and was such a profound experience for me because I got to feel the energy of new life like coming from the other side to this side, and it was just such a magical moment. I can see why people want to be doulas and why it's addictive. Just sitting with her, and there was like a thing that I did where I was just like trying to like put love into my hands and like touching her and like letting her feel, and it's I honestly, she said she didn't feel it, but I felt like it.
You felt, yeah, exactly.
And I felt like it was so connected and it was so powerful. I'm so obsessed with birth. Like if I could handle more kids, I would birth more children. I just don't have the capacity.
I just want
handle
to be pregnant and birth babies.
Yeah,
like I don't want to deal with
I
the
love
first
being
year.
Pregnant. Yes, the first
But
year is a nightmare.
I just want to carry, like for me, as I was Mother Earth, Goddess
Yeah, I love
incarnate in like my pregnancy, you know, and like I don't know what I would have to do to channel that energy again.
So
but
that's
wow.
why I'm on this journey of trying to find that. So how can I get into the state I was in when I was in labor?
Right.
It's like complete surrender, let go, like
Connection,
anything
like-
that's coming towards me, I can handle it. And I had like my birth with my daughter Salma was the most like incredible experience. The energy in the room, even the doctor was like a science guy. He looked like he was moved, and he said to me like that was one of the most perfect births. Like everything was perfect, and it's because I completely surrendered. I didn't care what I looked like. I was sweaty and I was like,
powerful birth
it's so cool to just be so raw and just like I was naked.
in your element. Same
Yeah,
with me.
I was just, I felt like this.
I was like roaring my
Yes.
child as well, like, and I mean, I did like hypnobirthing. I was like, you know, I'm good, and I was like, nope, that's not for me.
The
I'm
visceral
like,
sounds that come from your body is such a
oh
shock.
my gosh.
And there were only women because Wayne was in England. He was stuck
Right.
there because of COVID travel restrictions.
Right.
He was working there and he couldn't come home because if he came home, he couldn't go back to work.
Oh my
So there's this very uncomfortable decision to make because it's like, I want to work in my job because it provides for our family, but I want to be there for my daughter's birth. And we went back and forth, and then we made the decision together. And so he watched the birth on FaceTime. But it was just completely women. The two nurses, my male doctor who came in at the very end, he wasn't really there. My doula, my sister, was also there for my birth, and she was my birthing partner. And it was just such a cool experience, like a feminine flipping like power zone.
I know,
when
right?
the doctor came in, I was like, oh, I wish that you were
A woman.
like, and it's just like, oh, there's male energy in here. It wasn't bad, it was cool and like helpful.
Right.
But it was just such a beautiful thing because I could feel so free. Like I didn't feel self-conscious being naked, or because I was like burning hot and I needed to have every form of fabric off of my body because I was freaking me out. So I just completely stripped, and I was like, I need to be like raw, you know, and the sounds that were coming out my mouth, I didn't care that I was like being embarrassing or not ladylike, because I was very much raised in an environment where you need to be a lady and you need to be classy and whatever. And it's not classy to go,
of course,
squeeze the baby out of you. But it was so cool, and it's like accessing that different side of myself. And I want to know, how can I experience that without experiencing that, you know? Like, how do you get that back? And being able to be so confident and free. And there's something about pregnancy also, I feel very attractive.
Oh, me too.
I feel gorgeous.
I
like a
do
goddess.
look at pictures of me when I'm pregnant. I was like, oh my word, who is that woman?
I don't know if I was as attractive as I felt inside. Like, I literally felt so good about myself.
Yeah.
And so I want to feel that again, or bring that out. Like, if there was a flipping supplement I could make to give everybody this feeling.
Well, we should journey that together. We should explore that together.
Like an oxytocin.
But I think it's also, it is really about calling in your female tribe.
Yeah.
I think the more women that we can surround ourselves with that embody some part of that wild feminine, like, it just allows us to tap into that more. And I think it's a little bit tricky with us, because this is what I like. I can be with my wild woman, I'm like so into it, and I'm like, oh, amazing, I'm barefoot, and then I gotta go to work. And our work is not a 9-to-5 office job where you can like maybe still carry essence of that, or you can put your head down, do that, and go home and be wild woman. You know, our job is our lives, and we're in the limelight, and there's so much. So for me, it's finding that balance, you know.
It is hard when you like, but I've also accepted that you can be spiritual and wild and free, and also like be glamorous.
I know, and that's so much,
It's
that's
like
a part
two
of my
sides of a
brand.
coin, yeah.
You know, that's, I've really made it a big part of my brand now, where like my audience wants to see me in the mountains with my dogs.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I don't share that side of myself online because I'm very protective of it, because I don't
Right.
know, you know, I'm not confident about where exactly it's going for me.
Right.
And I found that certain things on the internet I won't share because I feel like it's like sacred.
Right, I hear you.
And it might sound funny to people because I share so much and they're like, oh, is this not sacred? Is this not sacred? Like, yes,
But
there
they
are
are.
certain relationships that I keep private that I feel like I need to protect. And one of them is my relationship with, you know, spirituality and how I feel about that environment. I don't mind talking about it in this setting because it's a safe space, and I know that the people that are going to engage with this are people that are like-minded.
And draw, exactly.
Yeah, whereas when you throw things at the internet, there's like all these random people that come out and you don't know
Exactly.
them, and they're not really your people,
They're
your
not your-
tribe.
yeah, exactly.
So I'm very careful to share that kind of stuff and make it part of, you know, my broader brand dynamic. But it's also a tricky thing because you want to be real and you want to be authentic, but you also want to be safe.
Exactly, and I totally understand that. And for me, I think the reason behind sharing it is because it is my calling it is my calling
Yes.
to open doors for other women, like other women have opened doors for
For
me.
you, yes.
You know,
And how good does that feel?
So
like the
flippin'
story you told me now about just like how in a small way I impacted your life is that's why I do what I do, because
Completely.
and a lot of influencers say that to me, you know, and they're so major now. There's like some of them have like 2 million followers and
Wow.
like they're like breaking boundaries, and it's like I was the person they looked up to. I broke the glass ceiling for them.
Right, exactly.
And that's a nice feeling for me. I don't always have to be number one. I have opening the door and letting someone else walk through and be the star is really, it makes me feel so good. I love doing it.
Like one of my coaches, I was so nervous about this whole thing and I was sick and everything. And she was like, Karishma, just bring it back to the why.
Yeah.
You know, and my why is this because I'm being the maverick, I'm being the trailblazer. And if it's only 200 women right now or whatever, you know, I can blaze that trail.
Yes,
For those
and
200 women to...
And you don't know what impact you're gonna have, you know. It's like it's
Exactly.
a really cool feeling when you make an impact on someone's life just through a simple gift, like the gift to have a good conversation.
And my space on social media shifted so dramatically since becoming a mom, and it has been that. The fact that I've been so like raw and real and open about living life differently, you know, raising my child very differently, pregnancy, birth differently, has been so impactful with other women. And I know that women are hungry for, you know, wanting to see other women do things differently, to kind of give them
and
that
things
permission.
that feel intuitive to you. So sometimes you can feel like, so for example, the hair thing. It's a common like topic I think many people relate to, with you not forcing your daughter to brush her hair.
Yeah.
So that can be such a hot topic, but as a parent, you may intuitively feel like she doesn't like doing the airbrushing thing or the perfect ponies or plaits, and I don't want to do it because I see she doesn't like it. But you don't always feel like it's okay to not conform.
Exactly.
So then it just gives you that nod of approval, like, oh, she's doing it, so I can also do it.
Exactly.
You know, and so that's why they say representation matters. 'Cause
Matters
it's
so
so important to
much.
see the other side of things. And as a mom, I'm very intuitive with my children, and I do raise them differently to how I was culturally raised. Like I was raised in a punishment kind of environment where you got punished for not...
Consequences.
Yes, there's always consequences, and you were so afraid of the consequences, you often didn't like feel free enough to live. And I don't want my kids to feel like bound by I'm like the big person on the mantle, like my mother says that you can't, I can't do this and that. I don't want that for them.
And why? Because I said so. Like I always want to have an open conversation.
Or because I'm your mother or
Exactly.
I'm your father.
And then
it's not a good enough reason for me. I always try to speak to my children, and well, especially my older one, the 5-year-old, and just like engage with him and explain to him why actually like these certain. So yesterday I'd gotten, you know, upsetting news, and I was feeling in a bad mood, and I didn't really want to be a mom. It's like, oh, I have to do the mom thing. And my son came home from school, and he was like, Mommy, and he gave me a hug, and I was like, oh, I'm having a bad day. And he's like, what happened? And I'm like, I can't tell you because it's grown-up stuff, but it was really upsetting. And he's like, but why can't you tell me? I don't mind earrings. I said, I know, but there's certain things I can't tell you because it's grown-up information. And you know, it's only for grown-ups. And he's like, is it scary? And I'm like, it's not scary. It's just, you know, I don't want you to worry. So he's like, oh, okay. So he's like, what can I do to make your day better? So I said, just a little hug, and I might not be like fun. So he was like, okay, you don't have to be fun. And he gave me a hug, and it was like, I explained to him that I'm in a low mood, so he's not gonna expect me to be this fun person.
Exactly.
I don't want him to feel like he needs to cheer me up either. So it's just like, just communication again. Every
and
relationship.
let your kid know that you're also a human.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
That mommy's cry and mommy gets sad,
and let them feel like because we are coming to them with whatever, then they can come to us with whatever.
Yes,
it's
for
okay.
life.
For life, exactly.
So I love the way I was raised. My parents put a lot of effort into raising us really, really well, and my mom's a brilliant mom. And I always tell her, like, I emulate a lot of stuff that she's done and that I feel she's done well, but I'm also realistic, and I think about what did I need more of as a kid. And I think I needed more of seeing my parents be just human beings. Like, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to, because I have a real issue with crying. I can't cry. And I just wanted someone to say, like, it's okay to cry. Like, crying doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that you're having a bad day, and crying is normal.
Right.
Or, you know, mommy is not always perfect, because my mom was, to me, like super perfect. She had a perfectly clean house. She never cried. She was always happy. So it's like, whenever I felt those other emotions, I felt ashamed, because I'm like, why am I sad? Like, look at my mom, she's
always,
like,
exactly
always on, always happy. So it wasn't modeled to me to have other emotions of sadness. And so when I felt sad, I felt so sad, because it felt like, oh, I'm the only one that's feeling sad ever.
Right.
So I want my kids to also know and to experience me in my entirety, as a sad person and as a happy person and excited and all mellow, and you know, I want them to see all sides of me.
Well, Aisha, I think we could go on talking for the
I know.
entire day.
Well, when relaunch my
been?
podcast, you must come so we can chat more.
Yes, I would love that. Okay, but speaking of that, so there's this little segment called Share the Biscuits.
Okay.
Okay, and because I feel like I've been here and I've had the wonderful privilege, honestly, to pick your brain about so many things. And thank you for being so open and just so vulnerable. It's been such soul food, really. But you get to ask me something.
Oh, cool. What should I ask you? Oh, I'd love to know about your stance on family planning. Like, would you like more children, and what are your reasons for children?
Okay, so that's an interesting one. So
I know it is. That's why I asked.
My husband is an only kid, right? He's got a half brother, but they're 10 years apart. So he grew up as an only child. I have a brother who's 5 years younger, and we are so close. And I don't know what my life would be like. I don't want to know what my life would be like without him, right?
Yeah.
But we are definitely one and done.
Yeah.
I think so. I would love to be that mom who could have lots of kids, but I know I just don't have that capacity.
Yeah.
With my career, I work crazy hours. Like, if I'm on set, you know, I'm doing so many things. Gail's work is so hectic and all over the place. And, you know, he was traveling all the time, you know, 4 to 6 weeks away, 4 to 6 weeks at home, and solo parenting was really beginning to take such a toll. So I knew we didn't have the capacity. He's back home now, but touch wood, it's for a long time, but we don't know, because his career could easily take him away again. And I know that I could not handle 2 kids like that.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like, that's just...
I love that you know yourself.
Yeah, and I really am very truthful with myself about that. And also then we think like, oh, then we need like a bigger house and a bigger car.
It's the more.
The more, and you know, like, we're so good now. And also, Aisha, if I'm really honest, like, I don't want to go backwards.
Yeah, the pregnancy and doing all that all over.
Not even that, like I said, I'd be pregnant and birth the kid like today. I'm like, you know, I don't like, the first year was hard for me.
Traumatizing.
It was challenging for me in so many ways. And now I'm at such a good place with my kid. And it's challenging in different ways, as you know, each age is.
I think you can be a better parent if you know your limits, if that makes sense.
Completely. And, you know, we're in such a good groove now. So, yeah, I think we're one and done.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this answer. I know the answer, I just wanted you to share it. Because I think it's so important to talk about that, because a lot of women are shamed into having multiple children or children at all. I don't think you have to have kids to be happy, and I always say this.
But it's also such a big cultural thing.
Oh,
I
it's
feel.
huge.
Like, I mean, everyone's already nagging us, you know.
When are you
Come
doing
on,
the
one
next
more,
one?
or have a boy, or
Yeah.
like, you know. I'm like, well,
Why?
it could also be a girl, and then what are you gonna say? Like,
I get your daughter needs a sister, you have a sister.
Oh
and
my
I'm like,
gosh.
she's fine.
she's
She'll
fine.
make friends.
Exactly.
Like friends are so important. You make friends in your life. Some people have siblings that they're not close to.
And exactly, it could go either way. And my husband said, you know, he didn't grow up feeling like he was missing something because he never knew what it was like to have that thing.
Yeah.
So he's always
And
like,
you have
he's gonna be
friends, you
fine.
play with other children, you meet people.
Exactly.
And life's long, you're going to make a best friend that feels like a sister.
Maybe
to you.
you'll have cousins, nudge, nudge, wink, wink to my brother.
Put pressure on your brother.
Exactly. Can the pressure shift
Yeah, just
to that
throw
way?
the ball over that way.
Exactly. You know, so
Yeah,
I'm
and
so
cousins
close with
are-
my cousins. So
Yes, cousins are amazing.
exactly.
So that's
Yeah.
a good answer. Thanks for sharing with me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're amazing.
Aw,
Thank you for sharing your light
Aw.
with us and with the world.
And thanks for the chai, that was amazing.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're an amazing soul, Aisha, and you are appreciated and
I
valued.
need to give you a hug. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, and thank you
thank
for sharing yourself with me today. Mwah.
Wow, I hope that conversation left you as inspired as it did me. My heart is always so full when I can connect with women in such a deep, vulnerable, and open way. I want to say a huge thank you to our guest, the wonderful Aisha Baker, as well as to our sponsor, Birkenstocks. Please join our community on Instagram and share your thoughts and insights with us. Your opinion is so valued. And if you feel called to do so, please leave us a review and share this podcast far and wide so that our community can grow. Much love and light from me to you. Until our next Chat and Chai.